Yeah, so my name is Max Burton, and I'm the managing director of a company called Freshly Baked Limited, which we set up to buy and operate the master franchise for Auntie Pretzels, which is a large US snack food brand, but they're now in nearly 30 countries around the world, massive in Asia. They've got probably 500 sites in the Far East, over 1,000 in the US, and we've got 36 sites in the UK currently, and have with a target of probably another 60 to 70 over the next 8 to 10 years. And we've had this business now for over a decade, and it's been a very exciting journey. I think for ours, it's to insist that you get an opportunity to work in the business. So before you've committed any money, you'll obviously have to sign an NDA, I'm sure, but before you've committed any money to the venture, is to actually work for a day, 2 days a week, if you can, in a business where you're given some training by the operator, whether it's another franchisee or whether if it's a company-owned location, their manager. Just because I think sometimes the experience as a customer can be very different from the experience working in a business, and certainly one like ours, where you can be on your feet for 10 to 12 hours managing a team of young people. It's a very busy environment, and I think having that opportunity to work in that would be really, really important, because it isn't for everyone, and it might feel like it's something you want to do, but until you actually work in it, I think you don't really know. So I think my second top tip really is around your budgeting. I think when you're preparing a sales forecast for yourself, but even if you don't need to borrow money, but also for the bank or leasing company, if you're looking to borrow funds, I think you want to stress test it. So always check what you're borrowing, check it, put it through that your put your numbers together and work out whether 10% less sales or even 20% less sales and 10% higher costs, it will still work. Because if it won't, then you need to seriously consider whether you've got any working capital additionally to get you through that period when you're growing. But if it will work, then I think you can be comfortable both with the opportunity, but also knowing that the bank are going to look at it with much more positively if you've done your own checking in that way. I think there's a tendency perhaps to say, I've got X to invest and I'll invest all of it. And then you'll prepare a budget. And, we try and be conservative relatively, but also, you do want the opportunity to be successful, but you've just got to make sure that should things not go to plan from day one, or should your costs be higher for reasons that no one can predict, there's still both the opportunity for paying back any borrowings, but also for paying you a salary or paying towards a return on investment. I think it's definitely important to be cautious when you're going into that sort of an opportunity like that. My third top tip, as it were, is perhaps not for everyone, but it's certainly how we look at business. You can't always choose who you work with, apart from when you're getting into a new business like this. And I think it is important when you meet the potential franchisor or the people you'll be working with daily, weekly, monthly in that business. So the marketing support, supply chain, operational support. And again, this is obviously for our business. These are the areas it would be. I think you don't have to be best friends with everyone, but you have to have a similar approach, and you have to. I think getting on makes a huge amount of difference to your enjoyment of the process, because there's no denying it's going to be stressful and busy, and things do go wrong even if they're planned. That's life. You can do these things 100 times perfectly, and then one time it goes wrong. So I think having a good working relationship, it sounds obvious, but sometimes I've met franchise prospects, and I can tell, and I'm sure they can too, that perhaps we're not right for each other. And I don't think you should be afraid, just like I don't think a franchisor should be afraid to say, this possibly isn't the right business for you or the right fit. And I think as much as you might like the opportunity, if you don't like the person you're going to be dealing with or the people you're going to be dealing with, that adds to the stress, and there's no way of avoiding when you're setting up your own business. And a franchise is no different. There's no way of avoiding that it's stressful and pressured, and for a lot of people, certainly for our business, it was their first business venture. So there's a lot of learning that goes on beforehand, but also live on the ground when you're running the business. So I think if you get a good feeling from people, if you're on a similar wavelength, I think that can go a long way to making the whole venture smoother from day one.